Just like that. And we are live. Okay, so the idea for tonight's broadcast is I am going to, uh, introductions aside, actually, I guess I'll give my introduction. I'm Young Penitent. Welcome to my Icon Corner. And I haven't been live for a little bit. And that means that I have disappeared from YouTube. If I don't apparently I have heard that if you don't upload in a couple weeks, then you kind of disappear in terms of the algorithm. So I thought I built up this channel and I got all these people who can watch me. So I might as well go live. Looks like someone's in the chat. Chat Noir. Welcome. Okay, so the idea for tonight's stream is I'm actually going to try to do a Twitter space and see who shows up, see what see what happens. This is a little bit of chaos. This is a little bit of just living life on the wild side. No notes, no preparation. This is just open your mouth and see what comes out. So I got my phone here. Oh, I'm gonna have a chat with Chat Noir first. But the idea, so Chat Noir says, I need your wisdom tonight. Okay, so I'll try to give you wisdom. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. And if you want to call in, I'm going to open a Twitter space soon enough. And I'm going to see if anybody shows up and we'll just talk about what's happening in the culture, in the world, in your life, whatever happens kind of thing. First, before I get to that though, I kind of want to show something that I've been thinking about, contemplating, mulling over this idea. And I had gotten an offer. I think I've talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it again because I really want to do this. I'm really thinking I'm going to go through with this. It's going to take some time. It might take a few months to get this up and running, but I got this offer from a friend, and the friend says that he is I've had him on my channel before. His name's John Mance, and he has a beard oil business. And he wants to partner with me because he is what he says he calls low T. And what he means by low T is he is low technology, not low testosterone as most people would think. Although I have another guest I'm trying to line up, or I'll eventually bring on. I'm going to bring on Primal Drive eventually, and might touch on the topic of testosterone and how to build that up naturally, but I'm not too worried about my own testosterone level. I lift weights and I eat meat, and that's good for your testosterone, I understand. This is a tough question. I just got nailed with the question. This is like a question that, okay. This is a question that I've gotten this in comments before, and I have not responded because this is not a question that this is usually a question that you ask a priest, but I'm going to read it and I'm going to give you my best take. I've probably talked about it before, but it's worth repeating. Cat Noir asks, the last year I have been going to an OCA parish. I am really nervous about being received via chrismation, considering moving to a ROCOR church to be baptized. Okay, you have some options. Well, I assume you have some options. You say considering moving to an ROCOR parish to be baptized. Okay, so that's actually one of your options. But you don't necessarily, okay, so he has another follow-up. He says, I am in Seattle and love my OCA church. I was baptized in a Catholic church and baptized in a Protestant church. Okay, so going back to the original question. Um, so you wouldn't see if you are nervous about this, this sounds like something that you've looked into, and this is this is probably a new, I would venture to say this is kind of a new, this actually is perennial, but it is kind of a new phenomenon in the age of the internet, that people before the internet, you would come to your church, you didn't have all this different people opinion online, you didn't have people talking about this, discussing this, it's debated continuously, eternally online. People are talking about baptism versus chrismation and what you should do. And 30 years ago, before the internet, well, the internet was just getting going then, but before everyone was on the internet, you would go to your parish, your local parish, your priest would tell you what you were going to do, and you would go along with it. And that was the end. You didn't know about this whole debate about baptism because your only source of information was your priest. And so in the age of the internet, you have your priest and you have Twitter and YouTube and books and it on and on and on, social media. So you know about this debate. There's books that are now published, and you're thinking maybe the right thing to do is actually, you're being offered chrismation, but maybe you think the right thing to do would be to get baptized. Okay, so the first thing I would do is, if you feel strongly that you want to be baptized, and so chrismation, first off, I'll say, chrismation can be a valid method of entry into the church. It can be. Personal opinion is that baptism is always preferred, because you're never going to, after you get baptized, you're never going to have that thing in the back of your mind saying, I should have been baptized. You won't have to second guess yourself if you get baptized. But if you get chrismated, that might happen. Okay. So one thing you can do, you can talk to your priest and you can tell him that you feel strongly that you would like to get baptized. You try to talk him into it. Make a petition. Write him a letter, a very respectful letter. You can even write your bishop, request your bishop that you say you feel strongly about this. That's an option. Okay, there's more. More from Chat Noir. It's really stressing me out, but I have yet to talk to my priest because I'm pretty sure he will automatically go the OCA route, received by chrismation. Okay, so you don't know yet. Are you so you don't know your situation yet, it sounds like. You might be a catechumen looking to enter the church. Okay, so I gave you an option. So you don't even know what he's going to say yet. He probably will try to chrismate you. If you're going to, and if he does say that, and you're going to, and you decide that you are going to do what he says, be prepared to just carry that to the end and not second guess yourself, because there's no really going back. They are saying by chrismating you that your baptism was valid, or they're not that it was valid, but that they are making it valid. The Orthodox Church is going back in time and saying we're giving grace to the form that 36-year-old catechumen. It will always be in the back of my mind. If that's the case, you're feeling strongly about this. I give you one option. Talk to your priest, write letters, petition, try to do it that way so you can get it received in this church that you've come to grow and you like the community. You want to be received there. Second option is you can You can go to a ROCOR, another a ROCOR monastery or a ROCOR parish, talk to the priest there and say to him, you don't necessarily have to jump jurisdictions. You can possibly go and get baptized in another parish. Say, I would like to get baptized, talk to the priest. I feel strongly about this. He might go along with it. He might not, but you can keep trying. And then once you're baptized, you're an Orthodox Christian. You can go wherever you want. You can go back to your OCA parish. They're not going to kick you out. They'll receive you. They say, oh, you're baptized? Welcome. So that's like the order, the order I would go. I would try to do it in the parish you're at first. Try to do this route. Do I think another question. Do you think the Vashon monks will baptize me? I am near that monastery. Very possibly. They might. I would go visit them. And if you haven't visited them yet, you live in Seattle, why haven't you? You got to meet Abbot Tryphon. If you've never met him yet, you have to meet him. That's what I always tell people. We have someone else, Orthodox Boomer Grandma in the chat is saying, go to a monastery. She says, go to a monastery, get baptized. I had to go to a different church by my priest's permission. Okay, so maybe your priest, she's saying she was in a situation where her bishop would not let her get baptized, would not allow the priest to baptize her. So she got a blessing from her priest to go to another parish, and I assume she came back to the parish she was at. But once you're Orthodox, you're free. You're kind of like a free man, a free agent. You can go to whatever parish you want. So I hope I have answered that question. I hope you're to your satisfaction. Hello to Brody Alexander, young old boy. His name's kind of like mine, old young boy. I'm old young penitent. So I hope I've answered your question. Now, what I was saying about this fellow John Mance with the beard oil company, he sells beard oil at the farmer's market. He's very good at it. He's a salesman, a natural salesman. Someone could be walking by, they don't even have a beard, and he'll convince them to buy beard oil. He'll convince them to grow a beard and buy the beard oil, then grow a beard later, because he's such a talented salesman. I tried to I'm not a salesman. I'll tell you that much. I tried to do multi-level marketing once, selling CBD oil. Someone saw me and said was selling at a booth, and they said, "Hey, you want to come into the business?" And I said, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And I was so bad at it. Someone who wanted to buy the CBD oil, I could talk them out of it. I'm just a terrible salesman. You're welcome, Chat Noir. And you can feel free to contact me, or I can put you in touch with the Abbot Tryphon or the monastery, or you can send me an email, youngpenitent@gmail.com, if you need further help with this, setting it up, and I could talk to the monks for you. I could ask them. So I'm not a good salesman, but he's good, and I'm friends with him. He's a great guy. I like his product. I love his product. And he asked me, he said, do you want to partner? You could do the online sales, because he could probably make some money online if he knew how to sell anything online, but he's just doesn't know how to use computers. So I've been thinking about this offer, and I think I want to try to help him and just give it a try. So I would, to do that, I would need to, figure out how to put together a web store and sell it online and shipping it and all that. I'll figure it out eventually. Oh, shoot. This should be muted. Anyhow, okay, so I'll show you the website. The website's okay. He's got the domain ByzantineBeard.com. And he's got this story long ago, the Byzantine Empire. And here's the product. And he doesn't cut corners. He uses the top quality ingredients: argan oil, jojoba, kukui, marula, rosehip, sweet almond, tea tree oil. These are the best. It's like he says it's like a multivitamin for your beard. So he doesn't cut corners, really good quality, and it's unscented, which I kind of like that. That's like a kind of like a manly man's product, you know, like what does a manly man need with scents and perfumes and stuff like that, you know? So yeah, only the best ingredients. I like the product. I like the guy. He's a good guy. And so I'm thinking about going into business with him, and might be trying to sell this stuff, you know, on my channel. You know, I could be like, make it every time I do a stream. I might even, I don't know, like rebrand I have a friend who works in online marketing, and he said I should rebrand my channel and call it Byzantine Beard and all across my social media outlets, and then just like turn it into, you know, a beard oil thing. I haven't yet decided to do that, but that's an option. So that's something that I've been working on, stewing. Good to see you, OBG. Thanks for stopping in. So yes, like I was saying. So that's what's been stewing. That's what's brewing, and look out for that in the coming months. I'm going to try to put this together. He's got the domain for the website, but he doesn't have a web store. He paid someone to make the website. And so I'm going to figure out how to do it. I don't know how to make a web store, but you know, I'll figure it out. So, all right. Now, if there's no more questions, I'm going to see if I can't get this. Try doing this. Try starting a Twitter space. I'm going to do this live. I had it set up, but it looks like it disappeared from here. So I'm going to try to set up a space here. Go live. And we'll see if anybody shows up. There's no, you know, guarantee that anybody is going to even show up to my Twitter space, because sometimes, and I've done this, I don't do this often. People don't expect it from me. So let's send this. Yeah, let's send this to can we just send this to everybody? I guess. How does this work? Skip. Okay. Now I think it started. We'll just see if anybody shows up, and if anybody watching out there on YouTube, or you know, I should have set this up beforehand. What's my favorite Orthodox Twitter account? I like Father Michael Lilly. He is my favorite Orthodox Twitter account, and I have interviewed him before. So definitely go and give him a follow. So, okay, now we have a Twitter space live. If anybody who is watching on YouTube, or anybody listening on Twitter, anybody wants to call in, we could talk about anything. I guess there's the big hot thing on Twitter now is all about today. The hot thing on Twitter is, what is it? Immigration, I guess. I wish someone would call in and explain it to me. What is going on? There's something with H-1B visas. Steven says Byzantine, it's like racial slur or an insult made by Vatican. Correct term is Eastern Roman Empire. Huh. That's news to me. Do you want to explain that a little bit more? I'm not sure. Oh, well, what am I going to do? I mean, the guy, he's already started the beard oil company. He's already got a name. He's got the domain. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'd have to know a little bit more about that. But so what do you guys think about? Oh, Father Brody Alexander says, Father Peter hates the term Byzantine and wishes people would stop using it. Uh-oh. This is trouble. Good thing I caught this early. So maybe it's not so good. I don't know. What do other people think? There's nobody showing up. Do you want to be live on YouTube, anybody? You can go to X, and I've got a space. I think if you maybe just go to X, join the space, and a request to speak, I'll add you, and you can be, or I could even make a invite on the stream here if people want to, you know. I'll drop an invite in the chat. You can even just call in through StreamYard. I'm just trying to get a conversation going here. Let's see, invite. So I don't know if anybody wants to actually. It's a little bit more, being in a chat, being in the live chat, and then speaking, calling in is a kind of a big, another step. It's some people are, you might be nervous about being, people get nervous about being in public. I understand. When I first started live streaming, my first couple lives, for a while I would get nervous, but I'm not really nervous anymore. I guess it's a okay. Brody Alexander says, it's more of a historical pet peeve. I don't think it's that deep. It's about claiming the Roman Empire and not letting the West write out history as if the Roman Empire stayed in the West. Gotcha. Yes. Yes, I understand. I do understand that people in what is referred to as the Byzantine Empire considered themselves Romans. I do know that much. But yeah, maybe it might even be a topic for a whole show. I did have an idea for a show. I gotta start doing a little bit of more frequent. I've been lazy. I've been doing my, I've been watching the price of Bitcoin. I've been just staring at my screen, watching it go up since Trump got elected. And it's kind of exciting, I guess. If you have a little Bitcoin, then it's kind of fun to watch it go up. So I don't know what else is there. No one's showing up in the Twitter space. 0 people. I was kind of hoping we'd get somebody showing up and raising their hand and desiring to speak, but maybe they're watching another channel or doing something else on their Friday night. If that, I already ran out. What else can I talk about? I already kind of talked about what I wanted to talk about, but I did get some interesting feedback on the Byzantine beard brand. I might still go with it. I don't know. At the very least, I can just help him sell his product, help him get his website going, do the shipping and stuff that he wants me to do, and make a little bit of money. Well, somebody showed up in the space. If you would like to, you are listening to a Twitter space that is being simulcast to YouTube. If you would like to speak, raise your hand. We're just talking about anything that comes to mind. Do you have any desire to speak? You are the only other person in the Twitter space. I will add you to the stage. He requested. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you are now allowed to speak. Would you like to introduce yourself? You are muted. You just.
I am Chat Noir on YouTube.
Wonderful.
So I'm the one who asked about the baptism question.
Hey. Yeah, you got anything else to say?
Not really. It's just something that's been stressing me out. I think I'm mostly stressed out because I've heard of these, one-off stories about someone going to receive communion and then they're denied because they received via chrismation.
Okay.
And that just sits in the back of my mind. And I don't need to keep going on about it. I know it's a touchy subject between people, but
right. Yeah, that's rare, and it's not likely to happen except maybe on we got someone else requested.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if I should add 2 people to the stage at once. I don't know.
Yeah. Young P, I'm going to sign off. I got to take care of my kids, but I just thought I'd start it off tonight. And, thank you for your help with this question. It's really given me some assurance and convinced me to go to Vashon. So I'll put my mic on mute and I'll let the next guy talk. Okay.
Okay, sure. I'll try to follow you if I can here. Follow in there. Okay, gotcha. Oh, where did the space go? Where's my space? Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. What is Ortho Bruh? Andrew, you are added to the stage.
Hello.
Welcome. I'm simulcasting to YouTube, so you are live on YouTube and on the space.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I think I recognize you from YouTube.
Yep.
I think I've seen you before somewhere up there.
Yeah. I just decided to, go live and see what happened. I didn't have any specific topic to talk about, but we have had several topics come up. One of them was somebody who was nervous about being received through his chrismation, and I tried to give a little advice, what advice I could to him. And we also talked about the term Byzantine Empire, and apparently this is like a term that is not in favor with some Orthodox. You aware of that?
Oh, like Byzantine Empire?
Yeah, like Byzantine. Like someone said it's a slur.
Yeah, that's fake.
Is it? It's fake?
Yeah, it's the Roman Empire.
The Roman Empire. Okay, so see, now I'm kind of in a pickle because I was talking about this beard oil company. There's a guy who wants to bring me on to help him sell his beard oil, and it's called Byzantine Beard. So now I'm in a pickle.
That's cool.
That's
cool,
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I guess I could just help him sell his product. I mean, but I don't think I'm not gonna ask him to change the name,
Yeah. Wait, you're Orthodox, right? You're not Eastern Catholic, are you?
No, but he is. The guy who with the beard oil company, he is.
See, yeah. See, in modern times, the use, like, especially like the internet, I've noticed that I have a cold right now.
Oh, no problem.
So anyway, I'm gonna have to mute myself to cough. But yeah, oftentimes you'll see the use of the term Byzantine to refer to, like, oh, my church, it's always by Eastern Catholics. Like, oh, I go to a Byzantine Catholic church. Like, nobody in the Orthodox Church, as far as I've seen, nobody's like, oh yeah, I'm a Byzantine Orthodox or whatever.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. But yeah, you need to talk about, like, kind of like random controversial things. You mind if I share something that's kind of going on in the sphere of parishes where I am?
Let's hear it.
Okay, well, I'll just be vague, because people could figure out whatever. But so basically, like, I go to a Roquefort parish, and it's like really small, and it's like, it's like in the city, but it's kind of out of the way. And there's like a Greek parish that's like really old. Well, by American standards, it's really old. And then and there's the OCA parish. And there's like this sort of phenomenon where, like, okay, my parish has been around for like 10 years. And I talk to people at those other parishes, and they have no idea that my parish even exists.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, what is wrong with you people? I remember when I became Orthodox, like, I knew like the names and locations of every single Orthodox parish in like my state. Like, I mean, dude, like, I used to be Catholic. And I was like a trad type, and I could tell you like probably close to 100 Latin Mass locations around the country. Like, just like and it's like, okay, if I can do that, like, you can be informed enough. And then there's this other phenomenon where at one of those parishes, where like I have buddies who came over from one of those parishes to mine, and they talk to their friends back at them, and they're like, oh yeah, well, you're schismatic now, you're Roquefort. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm also in a Roquefort parish, and we do have a reputation among some circles of being schismatic leaning, I guess you could say. And this, goes back to historical kind of circumstances. Before Roquefort was part of the Russian Orthodox Church, when we were still not united. And
I get it. Based on that stuff, like, based on its history, and sure, I get why people would think that, like, 20 years ago.
I mean, even 20 years ago, they didn't really have the greatest argument, because we were still in communion with several
Jerusalem.
Yeah. I think there were several patriarchates we were in communion with at the time, and we did have a mandate from the
EP.
Well, no, from the patriarch before. I think it was Saint one of the patriarchs. I forget. I'm skipping my name right now. I can see his icon in my mind. He basically made provision. There were provisions made during the Bolshevik persecutions, which were like basically saying, well, if this happens, the church in exile should form its own. It's basically its own governance. So that provision had been set out prior. I think it was from. What was his? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the patriarch, and it basically came to
Moscow.
Yeah. I'm forgetting which one it was, but he basically had foreseen what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if we become because they were just killing if the bishop didn't do what he wanted, they would just kill the bishop and try the next one, and they just kept doing that until they got a guy that would go along. And
we had like and we should know his name. I think he's a a saint.
Yeah, he's a saint. It's skipping me right now. I have his icon over here.
Yeah.
I have a bad. I'm always forgetting names. It happened on my last live stream too. Like I forgot, Justin Marler's name, and I forgot this other guy. It just happens.
Yeah.
I have a bad.
But then after the Russian church, after that, the Russian church in exile left, they went to Constantinople, and the EP was welcome them with open arms.
Oh, right. That's right.
So there's a couple mandates there, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just kind of wondering what is wrong with you people? And then here's the thing, they'll say oh yeah, you're an old calendarist, and I'm like, okay, well, first off, there's no such thing as a Russian old calendarist, because there's the Russian churches on the old calendar. So what are we supposed to be schismatic from? The old calendarists are by definition Greek, because that's where where it originated from. The new calendar originated from the Greek church, and then there were old calendarists who rejected that. So people are just talking out their butts, not knowing anything. And I'm not saying that I know a ton. I'm pretty new to Orthodoxy. I got baptized right before Easter this year, 2024.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So, but it's man, if you're going to talk about this stuff, at least know what you're talking about. It's not even just one person. If this was a thing with one person, would be bringing it up on this, on your show here. But it's this is pretty widespread. People need to start doing the research before they go and blab their mouths about stuff.
Well, I think it's it's probably just an attitude that they learn from other people in their parish. And it probably has something to do with church politics, a way of pushing back, against, different opinions, that they don't hold or whatever. So.
Yeah. Yeah. But, that's all I got to say about that. But, as far as ask me anything or asking you anything, how long have you been Orthodox, and how did you come to the faith?
Okay, so let's see. I was baptized in 2006, and I had grown up without any formal religious upbringing whatsoever, so kind of a vacuum. And when I went to college, nature abhors a vacuum, and I just kind of went on this. I was a seeker, so I went on this search, and I searched the world over, and I thought it was going to be maybe Hinduism or something, because I was attracted to the spiritual experiences that they promised. And then I thought it was this Taoism or this or that. I looked around. I eventually settled on, eventually came around to Christianity through the influence of several campus ministers. And then there was a campus minister, Pastor Jim, a Lutheran campus minister, who got to know me. And he said, you should go. I went to his church. I only went once, But then he said, you should go to the Orthodox church over here in town. And I had been visiting different Christian churches. I went to the Catholic, I went to the Protestant, and once I went to the Orthodox church, I never went to any other church ever again. It was done. It was just, that's all it took. So God bless Pastor Jim. I try to remember to pray for him. He helped me, and that's the story.
Hey, that's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no problem. There's a couple people also listening. If you would like to, in the space, if you would like to speak any topic, don't have to ask me a question. You could just talk about what is going on in the world, or any topic on your mind. You are the space is being simulcast to YouTube. So just for your just a fair warning there, but just raise your hand if you want to speak. Did you have anything else you'd like to say? Another question or follow-up question?
Oh,
Tell me more about yourself. What are you?
oh yeah. Somebody gonna speak?
Doesn't look like it.
No, okay. I mean, actually, about me, I grew up going to like Assemblies of God churches when I was young, Baptist church for a while, some charismatic churches. Left home, went to the military, became very anti-God, anti-religion. Had a series of like mystical experiences while on like psychedelic drugs.
Oh.
Was kind of searching in the realm of like Eastern mysticism.
Right.
And then, I don't know. I had like a mystical experience that like really radically changed my life. And I ended up, because of it, joining the Catholic Church, and I was Catholic for 7 years. And,
yeah, I can really understand that. I too had like multiple like peak religious experiences. Some were related to drug use, some were related to meditation, and some were just things that happened to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that we should go out, seeking religious experience, but well, that's my opinion now, and I think that's based on, probably like the wisdom of the church. We shouldn't seek it out lest we be deceived, but that's exactly what I was doing. And I think that, in a sense, like it was authentic because it was like it wasn't just some sort of experience. Like it was like an experience that basically like where God like allowed me to, like forgive people who'd done me wrong, which is like a huge thing. And I don't know, it was like, I mean, I don't want to get too specific or anything like that, but, just like it was like the next morning, it was like the first day of the rest of my life. Like I was like, whoa, that was intense, And anyway, basically like in this mystical experience, like God told me to like find a monastery. And then I was like living in the national forest in Colorado, like between like Aspen and Snowmass.
Really?
The White River National Forest, yeah. And God told me to find a monastery.
Like you were like backpacking. You were like backpacking around and like.
Yeah, I was living out of my van.
Oh, in a van.
Yeah, get that van life. I had my weed, and I had my AR-15, and I had my Ford Windstar and my tent, and I was just kind of like bumming around. And yeah, so like God told me to like find this monastery. Well, then like I like went into town after I had this mystical experience and like just picked up like a random book and opened it up and started like I bought it and started reading it. And the author actually ended up mentioning a monastery when the book had nothing to do with monasteries. And in this book, he mentions a monastery, and it was a Catholic monastery that was literally on the same dirt road that I've been living on for a month. Yeah. So I was like, oh crap. So I went to that monastery and asked one of the monks. It's like, well, I need to become Catholic. And so I became Catholic. I was like, I want to become Catholic. How do I do that? He's like, oh, go home and tell them you want to just get an apartment and go to your nearest Catholic parish and tell them you want to join RCIA. And so I like really struggled with like the authenticity of this because it was like I went through RCIA, and then about a week after completing RCIA,
what is that?
A rite of Christian initiation for adults. It's just catechism class for Catholics.
Okay.
So like about a week after completing RCIA and then like getting confirmed, like I was received via chrismation essentially at the Roman Catholic Church.
Oh, right. Quick turnaround.
Well, yeah. I mean, it took me I went to like 6 months of classes,
Okay.
After the monastery, I came home, did my whole thing, and I got an apartment with a friend of mine and went through like all these classes and everything. And like when before I was to be received via chrismation, my priest told me that I was going to have to say, I profess and believe everything the Catholic Church teaches to be true. And I was like, wait a minute, we never went over this in catechism class. And he's like, oh, you can just say if you can agree with the Nicene Creed, then it's fine. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I realized, I was like, well, God wanted me to be here. So I just need to say this vow, and I'll figure out what it means later. But when I say this vow, I'm going to mean it. And no matter the consequences, I'm going to adhere myself to it, although I don't understand what it fully entails. And so from that morning on, I was committed to finding out what authentic Catholicism was. And so a week later, after I'd gotten confirmed and everything, a week later, I was just I was just randomly Googling stuff. I just typed in Vatican and then the word Vatican and the word Catholic. I just Googled that. And I found the most radical sedevacantists that exist out there. No one's crazier than these sedevacantists. VaticanCatholic.com, Most Holy Family Monastery, the Diamond Brothers, whatever you want to call them. And I was just put into this whirlwind of the modern Catholic Church is totally false, and Pope Pius XII was the last pope, and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my God. And so I just went down this rabbit hole, and I found their arguments so convincing. But I was like, dude, I just literally a week ago became Catholic. How am I supposed to process this? God, God led me to this monastery and then freed me from all this unforgiveness that I was holding on towards people, and now I'm here and I've joined the church, but then I find these super convincing arguments that say that this is not the real Catholic Church, that the sedevacantists are the real Catholic Church. How do I make heads or tails of this? And so I decided that I was going to go study Catholicism formally. So I signed up I studied and got my bachelor's degree at a seminary as a layman without the intention of becoming a priest or anything. I was not wanting to get ordained. I was just I'm here for the bachelor's degree in philosophy and theology. So studied at a very conservative Catholic college, double majored philosophy, theology, got my bachelor's degree. And, after about 1 year, after my freshman year there, I still could not make heads or tails of these sedevacantist arguments. I was like, dude, these are so compelling. And then I would bring them up in class, and nobody could even hold a candle to them. Nobody knew anything about it. They were just so blind to it. They had just no idea. And I was just like, dude, this is crazy. Nobody knows how to deal with this crap. So, but the summer between my freshman and sophomore years, I met with an Eastern Orthodox priest. And this is back in summer of 2018. And I went to college later. I was in my late 20s when I started college. But I went to the Greek Orthodox priest here in town. Really nice man. Those two priests, they're awesome. I love those priests. They're great. Went and met with one of them, and then I met with the Eastern Catholic priest. And I found what the Orthodox priest told me to be highly offensive, and that he told me that Catholic sacraments were fake, and I was so offended, and I just didn't know what to make of it. And he gave me some books, and I read them, and I found them pretty compelling. And then
maybe he could have worded that a little more. Fake is.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't necessarily have to beat people over the head with our with this kind of thing. But go ahead, go on.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was being mean or rude. Okay. I just don't think that I don't know. There's just a divide. I think most Catholics and Orthodox don't understand each other. But so then I went to the Eastern Catholic priest, and the Eastern Catholic priest was like, hey, man, he was very humanist. The Eastern Catholic priest was. He was like, well, the church is both in the Orthodox and the Catholic Church. And they're one church together, blah, 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 blah. And he basically told me, he was like, you just need to relax and calm down. You need to take your time with this, which was okay, that's good advice. He's like, oh, you told me, he's like, I had told him that like I was interested in exploring the Latin Mass and seeing what that had to offer. And he was like, dude, just go do that, just relax and you'll figure this out eventually. And he was right. So basically that was like summer between my freshman and sophomore years. When I came back to school, I started going to the Latin Mass, and I just went to the Latin Mass for, I don't know, like the next like 5 or 6 years. And then I came home after I finished my degree, and I moved back down to my home state, to my home city. And I met a fella who was Orthodox, and his now mother-in-law at the time, he was just dating this gal. Her mom was like, you need to go convince him to be Catholic. And I was like, oh, I got this. So like we, had a bunch of like debates and stuff, and we're like good friends. Well, we're good friends now, but we were really friendly, and we had like all these debates and everything. And so basically like we traded books, and we like had like tons of discussions, and like one thing led to another. And instead of me getting him to be Catholic, he got me to be Orthodox. And, it was like this whole just sort of like, I don't know, you just can't square the circle of Catholicism. It just doesn't make any sense. Like it's impossible. Like there's no such thing as being authentically Catholic. It's impossible, because Catholicism is not one thing. Catholicism is whatever you want it to be. You just have to pick and choose what time frame, what theology you're going to abide by. But like if you're to look at like the 3 main branches, it would be like the Novus Ordo, right? And then it would be the Sedevacantists, and then the Recognize and Resist. And each one of those has its failings. You can't be authentically Catholic and be Novus Ordo, because the Novus Ordo is Protestant. And that's like that's an oversimplification of it, but people can dig. People have written 800-page books on this topic. And the Recognize and Resist, it's like, oh, well, the Pope's the Pope, we don't have to listen to him. Well, I'm sorry, but like the pre-Vatican II popes disagree with that. And then Sedevacantism can't be true, because Vatican I defines that there will be a visible successor to St. Peter on the chair in Rome until Christ comes back. So it's like each of these, and that is just 3 things that I just can list, right off the bat. Like there's a bunch of other things that are problematic. And so, like becoming Orthodox, it was like, well, before becoming Orthodox, I was constantly in this state of like, which one of these is true? And I would lean towards one or lean towards another over time, never really could make up my mind. And coming into Orthodoxy, going through catechism, being a part of like a liturgical life, and then eventually sacramental life, it is like the first time in my entire life that Christianity makes sense. It is especially the first time in my life that like sacramental Christianity, or this like a church claiming to have like the faith of the apostles, the faith that Christ passed down to them, it's the first time I can say, no, like that's true. It's authentic. I don't have to like come up with 50 gajillion reasons why, my development of doctrine and all this crap. No. Like it's just Orthodoxy's it, and it's awesome. And I think I'm gonna be Orthodox for the rest of eternity. So.
Oh, good. Yes, good. So thank you for sharing your story. I kind of like, I can see you when you're like living in your van and stuff. And I like think back to that point of, my life when I was seeking. And I think we might've been like in a similar mindset, of just being very hyper, like aware or vigilant, or looking for, like, obviously you just like, read something in a book about visiting a monastery, and then you went and visited a monastery. So you were paying attention to your surroundings, I kind of like feel like I was in a similar, situation at one point, right before I became, luckily for me, I like went right into Orthodoxy. I didn't know about it. Hadn't heard about it, or I might've read like, a little bit about it in the college class or something like that, but I didn't wasn't really aware of its existence. I thought I was going to become Catholic at one point, but it didn't happen. Thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
I have some questions I'm going to address in my YouTube live chat, and I will reiterate to people who are watching that I am broadcasting a Twitter space live to X, and if you are in the space, you can raise your hand if you'd like to speak. But first, I will answer a couple questions here. Steven asks, did you ever have any paranormal experiences like see a saint or a dream? Actually, I have. I had a saint appear to me, and I believe it was St. Nicholas. And I woke up and I saw St. Nicholas hovering over my bed, basically. I tell the story in one of my previous YouTube videos. I mean, there's no way to really verify that this is a genuine, manifestation, if it was from God or not. I think it was based on the effect of what happened to me. He didn't say anything. I just saw him there, and he was just, if you're in the church for any period of time, you'll see, things will happen, and you won't be surprised at miraculous type of events. So yeah, that was my experience. It's in one of my, I have a playlist of videos called The Complete Idiot's Guide to Orthodox Christianity. And I tell that story in the video about called Spiritual Experiences. It has very few views. Almost nobody's seen it. Next question. What did Orthodox churches learn from COVID? Many parishes delivered the stab in the parish hall, required masks, and required liturgy registration. I guess that's where you sign up so a few people, only a limited number of people can come to church. How do we react to that as ahistorical? So what did the churches learn? This is kind of, I don't know. I think, in my parish, we did all sorts of ridiculous things, and I was kind of a little upset about it the whole time, but I just, it came and went, and now things are normal again. I don't know if the church itself necessarily learned. Some individuals may have learned, like my priest later kind of admitted in a he alluded to that he didn't think that it was what he once thought it was. So he didn't think it was. Later, he admitted that COVID wasn't quite as serious as he thought it was. So, people had, I don't know if it came about again, if he would react differently, I don't know if I would do anything different myself. But as a church, I don't know. I haven't really heard, any much from bishops in terms of saying, we did this. We shouldn't have done it, like public repentance or anything. I haven't really seen that. It might be good to see if it would be good to see that. But I'm not holding my breath. Balkans asks, dear brother, are you going to move to Russia? Well, I am not. If there's a reason, I have a friend who moved to Russia from my parish. I had a family move there temporarily just to see it, and live there for a little while. And they say it's nice there. They say it's actually better than living in America. So maybe I will. I don't know. My spiritual father told me to move to Russia. And I don't know if it was just, I don't know how serious he was. But, it's an option. Maybe if things get really bad here, or maybe, I don't know. He says you can get a house for $20,000. You can't beat that. Shoot, maybe I'll go to Russia and retire. Many Orthodox priests and laity are moving. Who is Young Penitent's patron saint? My patron saint is the Holy Prophet Daniel. Right there. Got an icon of him. Christopher Shame asks, anything? Yes, anything. Well, within propriety, you know. Oh, Brody says he has held off becoming a catechumen because he hasn't seen public repentance for this. Well, you know, I mean, your path of repentance is to do the will of God, and God wills, I'll say it, God wishes for everybody to come to a knowledge of the truth. And if you understand the truth, you will want to be baptized because Christ says he who is baptized will be saved. So listen to Christ first. It's unfortunate that our bishops may have made errors in this realm, and our leadership, but let's all do our own part first, you know. So that is the questions I have in the chat. And I don't know if anybody else listening in the space has anything else to say. You can raise your hand. We're coming up on an hour, which I think is a not too shabby length of time for a live stream. So I hadn't gone live for 2 weeks, and I guess I was missing you guys. So I'm glad to be here. This has been good. Did you have anything else to say, Ortho bruh?
No, but
No?
I mean, if you have any other topics, I'm down to riff.
Okay.
Not,
People are talking about immigration right now on Twitter right now.
Mm-hmm.
What is all that about?
Well, to be honest, this is my first time on Twitter in like, I don't know, a couple weeks probably.
Oh, good for you.
So, well, it's just life circumstances. You know, I got this new job and I just moved right before Christmas, and then Christmas happened, and yeah. So, I mean, I just moved like across town.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I'm going to stay in the same city probably for the rest of my life. So.
All right. What is your job? What if you don't mind me asking? You don't have to.
Oh, no, that's fine. I'm a photographer, among other things, and my 9 to 5, I take photos of classic cars.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
Man, I'm like envious. That sounds like a great job.
Yeah, you know, it has its moments. I get to drive them.
You know, I made a post on X yesterday, and I said every parish needs a photographer. Because, you know, when an icon comes, or when a bishop comes, or when you have a parish feast, you know, you need somebody there. Do you take pictures when you're at church ever? Do you bring your camera?
Yeah, I do. I'll probably be taking photos tomorrow because we have an abbot coming to our parish.
Oh, that's great. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, our parish is a chapel, and it's like a dependency of a monastery. So
nice.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I take pictures. You know, most of the time I'm either serving or at the chanter stand.
Sure.
But on like special occasions, I'll just take pictures and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Thank you for that, because you know I think it's just great to have somebody like what's the word chronicling the life of a parish. You know, like we had a photographer for many years, then he moved away, and then someone else kind of stepped in, but he's like you, he's busy doing things in church. So now we have someone at our parish, and he's taking some nice photos. We had the cursed root icon yesterday come to our parish, and
that's awesome.
It's a wonderful icon. If anybody out there has a chance, you know, you get a visiting icon like that, there's a reason. You know, it's filled with grace. It's a grace-filled experience just to pray to the icon. And I do want to say that, you know, As Orthodox Christians, we should take every chance we get to venerate holy relics, holy icons, because they're filled with grace, and we take grace away from them. And the saints will pray for us who are present there. You know, so that's my little my advice for the evening for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I have like a print. I have a print of the cursed fruit icon.
Yep.
It was given to me as a baptismal gift.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So it's in my collection here.
Yeah, I was walking up to the parish. Okay, so I got up. The icon was going to be at my parish from 9 to 11, and I was walking. I got off work. I get off work at 11 a.m. So I got off a little, like I left work early, and I was walking up the road, trucking to get there before they left. And I was walking up the road, and I looked, and it was raining slightly, and there was a rainbow, like a local rainbow, like you could see it was like right, close, and it was like right there, and it was just arcing right into the church. So the rainbow, the pot at the end of the rainbow was the icon in church, obviously.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So Balkans has a comment. He says, I'm eventually gonna leave America, have many brothers in Russia. I assumed you were from the Balkans because your name is Balkans, but I guess he's in America. So interesting.
I'm not gonna like hate on anybody who wants to leave America to go somewhere else, because I get it. Like I've had that desire before, not necessarily to Russia, but to other places. And but I don't know. I think America. I mean, I'm pretty patriotic. I mean,
okay.
Like I'm not like America patriotic. Like I don't like our government, but I love the people. And I think America's worth saving, or the American people are worth saving.
Yeah, I guess I would have to have a reason, something would have to prompt me, or maybe if I got exiled or something, or I don't know what. I guess I don't know how they usually don't do that to small YouTubers, but I don't know.
How are you going to get murdered in Russia? You gotta be somewhere where they're murdering folks.
Right. Yeah, maybe I have to stick around and just hang out here until they kill me.
Well, okay, so for the Catholics, well, I don't know about under the Trump administration. I think we'll be fine under Trump, but if it swings back the other way, right, and some evil Democrat gets in 2028, so what they were doing is the FBI was putting FBI agents into the Latin masses, especially in like particular dioceses in Virginia. And with this whole, reunification that everybody's talking about, I don't know if it's going to happen, this upcoming year, but eventually, if things keep going the way that they're going with the split between Constantinople and Moscow, and with the potential reunification, maybe not in doctrine, but at least in communion between Constantinople and Rome, that's going to be the dividing line, like for the Orthodox, are you team Constantinople or are you team Moscow? And I don't mean politically, I just mean like church-wise, right? Do you accept the union between Rome or do you not? And if you don't accept the union between Rome, then you're going to be on the crap list. You're going to be the one that they're going to they're going to be tapping your phones
and they might
spying on you.
They might even make our church illegal. The true church, they could do that.
Yeah. Oh, and if anybody is ever at your parish and they start talking a big game, it doesn't mean they're a Fed. But they're a Fed when they say, hey, we need to go do something in real life. That's when your spidey senses should be tingling, and you should just call them out for being a Fed. And they're like, oh, yeah, we need to go do anything. He's just like, yeah, no, get bent, dude.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not doing anything illegal with you.
Yeah. I have actually seen that kind of behavior, the illegal behavior. I've heard about that. Luckily, we were wise enough to recognize it for what it was.
Fed bait.
Yeah. Yep. So can't. So yeah. Another question in the chat is that the ascetical homilies by Abba Isaac on the bookshelf? He's asking about this one. Yes, and I have read it. I have read it probably 7 times. So I don't just put books on my shelf.
I don't think I've read any book 7 times.
Yeah, I very rarely do it. I just liked it that much. There's very few books I've read more than once. The other one is Unseen Warfare, which I love that book, and I actually recommend that book.
Well, who's that by?
Well, it was originally written by was it Lorenzo Scupoli? He was like an Italian monk, and so yeah, he was Roman Catholic. And then it was revised by Saint Nicodemus and edited by Saint Theophan the Recluse. And so, it was kind of cleaned up. Any Catholic kind of leaning things were taken out. And Saint Theophan saw much of value in the book. And I think it's when I was reading it, I thought I was going to become a monk. It's sort of like a monastic kind of, if you have monastic leanings kind of book. It's like struggling against the passions, the basic spiritual struggle, and how to go about it. It's kind of like similar to the latter in that way. So it might be a little, now that I'm a little older, maybe it was a little bit over. Maybe I wasn't ready for it. Like reading it, like when I was a new Christian, like maybe you should calm down, be in the church a few years and calm down a little bit before you, it's maybe for a little bit of a more mature Christian, should read it.
I'll talk to my priest about.
Right. Yeah. Talk to your priest. But for better or for worse, I was reading all of the heavy, deep monastic literature as soon as I got into the church. I thought I was going to become a monk. I did not focus on my career. I was focused on my spiritual life. And that was numero uno for me. And I was, just digging into the books and, so that's for better or worse, that's the path I took. And I don't know if I can't go back. So.
Yeah. You said that title, and then it was like, I had like a little.
Oh, you remember it?
Flag, but like a little yellow flag pop up. I was like, okay, I know this. And I thought that it was the book you were talking about, but I wasn't sure, which is why I asked who was it by. And when you said it was written by the Roman Catholic, I was like, oh, yes. Okay, I've heard people talk about this book, and they talk like major trash on it because it's written by a Catholic, but the way it was presented to me was that they said, oh, it was just cleaned up and kind of made more orthodox. But they failed to mention to me the fact that it was revised by 2 Orthodox saints. And I think that makes a huge difference. Like I would trust it now. Previously, without that knowledge, without that information, I would not trust it.
Sure. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. I'll ask my priest about it and see if we have it at our bookstore.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. I know that Father Sarah from Rose recommended it, so good enough for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just got the prologue.
Oh yeah, that's safe. I think everybody can read that. That's
Oh yeah, we read it at church and during matins.
yeah, that's like the book that that's like if you ask your priest for reading, that's what they're going to give you. The most likely answer is read the prologue every day, you know. I've heard multiple priests say that.
Yeah, it's like 1,800 pages.
Sure, but it's split up for every day of the year, you know. So
No, I'm just saying, like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, if you read it every day, you would be reading an 1,800 page book of, you know, reflections and prayers and all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, I read it
In a year.
I read it for like first couple years. I was Orthodox, and honestly, this is gonna sound strange. I wasn't that much into it. Like the reflections, I like, you know, like
Really?
yeah, I wasn't.
Oh, what?
You know, it sounds like heresy, but like I would read. He has these reflections. He's like, ask yourself, you know, read this scripture and then ask yourself this question, and I'm like, okay, you ask me a question, but nothing's coming to mind. I don't get this part. I don't get that. The lives of saints are good, but like after reading about like another saint who got scraped with iron nails and claws and hooks and burned alive and thrown into a boiling tar, I had read it. You know, I felt I had read enough saints getting tortured, you know, after reading through it a couple times. And I know this is good. It's good to repeat this stuff, but yeah, I know it's unpopular take. That's hopefully no one takes. Maybe I should edit that out. You know, edit that out of my YouTube.
You know.
People are gonna quote me. Nobody quotes me. Nobody cares. It's a small YouTube channel. Nobody's watching.
Yeah. No, I think you're fine. You know, I don't take offense. I'm just surprised.
Yeah, I stopped reading it. I read it for a few years, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, just move on to something different.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I like
switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. Other books I've read multiple times. The Ladder, probably read that probably five times or something like that. Abrador Theos, keep going back to that. Father Seraphim Rose a couple times. If you can get your hands on a copy of that book, read it. You know, that's one of my recommendations.
Oh, which one of his?
Life and Works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've got Orthodoxy and the Religion of the Future. And then I read his survival course, like from like a PDF form.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets into some crazy history. Dude, the history of the Protestant Reformation is way more insane than you would ever believe. And, you know, you think about like the French Revolution and its insanity. It's like, well, no freaking wonder the French Revolution was the way it was, considering that the Protestant Reformation was just as insane, especially the Radical Reformation that thought that the Reformation was like too Romish still. So it's just people like eating each other and
oh yeah, wild.
Just all kinds of just wild stuff. And then with the advent of like the secret societies, it's like, oh my gosh, that's insane.
And reading about like the Anabaptists and like that crazy thing that happened, whatever around there, that was crazy to me. I didn't know any of that history.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why the evangelicals come from the Radical Reformation, because the evangelicals come from the Baptists, which come from the Anabaptists.
Oh,
and like the Radical Reformation looked at the Protestant Reformation and said, you haven't gone far enough. And you can still see the differentiation between them today. And so that's why I personally differentiate between Protestants and evangelicals. So if you're like a non-denom, I'm not going to call you a Protestant. I'm going to call you evangelical. You know, if you're Baptist, you're evangelical. Like any sorts of those types of folks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like if you're not like Lutheran. Anglican's its own weird thing, but if you're not like Lutheran or well, I mean, I guess like Anglican's still kind of, yeah, Anglican's still Protestant, because then it's like, okay, well, the Methodists came from the Anglicans, they're Protestant. So like Lutherans, Presbyterians, Anglicans, Congregationalists, like they're all like the Protestants, and then the evangelicals. I mean, I guess there's more evangelical denominations out there. I'm just not as familiar with them. But yeah, generally like the different versions of the Baptist and the non-denoms.
See, someone just popped in. If you want to listen, or we are doing a simulcast YouTube X Twitter space on YouTube, and if you would like to speak, just feel free to raise your hand, talk about anything. I'm kind of starting to lose. I'm starting to actually kind of fade here, so I might want to. I might actually wrap it up here for the night.
All right. Well, hey, it was great chatting with you.
Yeah, you too. So this has been Ortho Bruh Andrew. If anybody else wants to go follow him on X, go ahead. All right. So thank you for calling in. Had to give us something to talk about. Thank you everybody who's watched, and we'll catch you all next time. Good night.